So how does it feel to be a star?
It's never gonna last.
Let's just enjoy it while we can.
If our sleeping arrangements get out, all of this is gone.
I just hope you realise you're choosing a life of being alone forever.
Don't you want to just sing without this ridiculous paraphernalia?
People don't pay to see Reg White. They pay to see Elton John.
Sorry.
I know.
As a gay viewer, it's really great to see that Elton's sexuality isn't diluted in any way. So how important was it to you that there was no compromise on that part of his story?
I have had two people come out to me in my life. The first being in my mid-teens, the second being when I was 19 and 20. The first was actually a fairly comfortable experience for that person because he has a very liberal, very understanding family. And the second was less so, but not as bad as it is for some people. But I have witnessed something of what that is like for gay people. One of those people's now in my flat, getting himself ready for the premiere this evening. So just because I'm not gay does not mean that it's not a hugely important thing to me, because there are people in my life who I love that are. And I had the version of this film happened where, you know, there was compromise made here. How could I possibly look those people in the eye?
And did you get to talk to Elton much about that moment? Because essentially at the centre of this story is his coming out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting in two ways in our story. One, because of in the early parts of the film, it's not something that Elton talks about very much. And I think it's because he worries about reprisal and not being accepted, particularly by his newfound family and close friend Bernie Taupin. So that required some delicate handling. And then also there's this, yeah, as you say, this scene where a young man loses his virginity, and I was very keen to know about his relationship with John and meeting him, and also about, you know, how he felt about, you know, at that time where he was discovering his sexuality. You know, I always remember he said, you know, to begin with, I was just very drawn to guys, and I just remember feeling like I wanted to be mates with them, and I wanted to spend time with them and hang around with them. He said he was quite naive at that stage. And so that's sort of how I approached it. And then you have this scene with Richard where, you know, they consummate their newfound love and fierce attraction for one another. And I think, if I'm not being self-aggrandising, I think it's quite a beautiful scene.
And
I think it's very sexy as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure many people agree. And do you hope that Rocketman will kind of lead the way in Hollywood when it comes to having a gay character and a gay narrative in a major blockbuster movie?
I certainly hope so. I've got a feeling that we're not far away from a gay superhero, and I think times are shifting, and it's high time, you know. It's and it feels appropriate. Elton's life has been so about firsts and pioneering things that for a movie in his life to be, as I'm led to believe, I haven't had this completely fact-checked, but as I'm led to believe, it's the first time an intimate scene between two men has been portrayed in a studio movie. That's not to say it's the first time. There are some fantastic pieces of gay cinema. Weekend is one of my favourite films, and then you've got Brokeback Mountain, and, you know, all sorts of wonderful depictions. But in a studio movie, apparently this is the first. And how exciting to be a part of something that's so zeitgeist and so progressive and so forward-thinking. And it's just brave because it, you know, there are territories where it you know, it may. I feel like we've put art before commerce a little bit, and I think that shows. I think it shows integrity on the part of Paramount and on the part of the filmmakers.
Yeah, you just certainly don't shy away from it. But also,
thank you for saying that.
And also not shying away from the darkest moments in Elton's life as well.
Of course, it's not. You know, there are other facets to the storytelling and other elements to the storytelling. It's also about, you know, Elton's creative journey, his relationship with Bernie Taupin, and also his struggles with addiction, and how his slightly less than ideal relationship with his parents feed into some of his troubles. And we haven't. I don't think we've pulled our punches there. I don't feel we have anyway. I'm very at peace with it.
What a shy little boy you were. Look at you now.